Episode 228 of the White Cat Outdoors podcast, bringing you to the table while we talk about the outdoors. This week, we've got myself, Tom, Frank, and our good buddy Keith Sharp is on the line for this episode. Keith's been on multiple times for big bucks and big turkeys over his career. He's one of the most consistent killers I think I know. I mean, the guy tags out almost every single year with quality animals. So it was no surprise for him to fill a tag early season this year in turkey season, but we're super happy for him, and we've got him on to tell the whole story. So I'm going to just quit rambling and let him tell it. So let's get tuned in to this week's episode.
And then I looked dead at his antlers. I got out of the truck, and when I slammed the door, I heard gobbles all around me.
Let's see it.
Alaska, moose, spot and stalk. That is the bucket list. I agree.
White Cat Outdoors. White Cat Outdoors.
What's going on, everybody? Glad to be back in the studio. I missed last week. I had a bit of an injury, but I'm back now. And AE's not in the studio with us tonight, but
That
Nick and
rascal.
Tom. I know, isn't he something else? I'm the only one that's allowed to miss all the time.
Yeah, and Tom, apparently.
Yeah, apparently everybody but you can miss whenever we want.
Yeah, I'm the only one that hasn't.
Yeah, that's one of the
I haven't
things.
missed in a while.
Yeah, that's true. You've been around for quite a bit.
Yeah.
Helps that we're at your house.
Yeah.
This is true.
So yeah, gang's all here almost, and it's still turkey season, so we got a big turkey killer on the line. Our buddy Keith Sharp has had some time out in the woods and a little bit of success, so we're going to talk to him about that tonight. What's going on, Keith?
Brothers,
Glad to have you back, buddy.
hey, it's an honor, guys. It's a real big honor. I'm happy to be back, and it is turkey season now, and up in New York here, it's the weather's terrible, but hopefully it'll start clearing up for some more hunts here.
Yeah, because you guys are, New York's one of them states where you get two birds.
Correct. Yeah. So we get 2 tags. You can shoot 1 a day. But there's certain parts of New York that just hold more birds than others. Unfortunately, I live in a spot right now that is just terrible. I mean, you almost feel bad hunting them. I went out the other day, and I mean, I didn't see a turkey, didn't hear a turkey. I did cut a few tracks though. So that
Could have been a
was
big
good.
chicken.
What's that?
Could have been a big chicken.
It could have been a big chicken. They've been known to roam these parts. So
Yeah, you got to be careful for them.
yeah, if you guys hear heavy breathing too, that's my dog. She's sitting right next to me. It's not me. Just
Oh, it's not
really
Wes
happy.
either.
But so yeah, this weekend I was fortunate to have Thursday through Sunday off, and fortunate to be able to hunt those 4 days. In New York here, you can only hunt till noon, so we basically we got to our spot. It's about 3 hours north of where I live, and I don't really venture there too much. I don't have the time to really scout, but this year I got a hold of one of the farmers I had permission on, and he was really nice and gave me just a huge amount of other farmers to call to see if I can hunt their ground. And I actually got quite a few spots for permission there through that way. So kudos to him. I got him a gift card just for doing that.
That's awesome.
Yeah, it's
Especially in
I'm
New
used
York
to that.
State.
So, but so I ended up leaving Wednesday night, and I got up there where I was at, just drove around and just tried to find birds. Like I said, around here is just completely dead. So driving where I was, I mean, there was birds out all over the place. It just rained that day, so they were out sunning and they were all out strutting, and so it was a really nice change. So Wednesday night we got into where we were at. I'm pretty sure you guys know where I'm talking about.
Yeah, I'm slightly familiar.
Yeah, but I'll get to that story in a bit about the smells. But
Oh boy.
yeah. So we ended up getting into camp there. I started unloading the car and got into our cabin, and it had a very familiar smell.
Almost like you'd been there before.
Yeah, it smelled like death, farts, and pickled eggs. So
Can't beat that.
yeah, it's pretty good. So we got the place aired out, drove around, actually found a few birds. They were close to where we could hunt, but in that ballpark. And we're just trying to put a game plan for the next day because all these spots that I got permission for, I've never been to. I've e-scouted them on X and what have you, but never really saw, with my own eyes. Which I don't really like going into spots like blind, completely blind, especially on private. I don't on my public. I'm used to that, but just private because there's boundary lines and I don't know where all these other things are because if the maps aren't really updated, you don't know if there's new structures or anything like that. So we it started to get towards roost time, and we were going down this road. It was all public, and I put my car into stealth mode, turned it off, and kind of went down this hill with the car turned off and just tried to be as quiet as possible. And literally, we turned the car off, did a few hooters, and I had a bird roosted literally within 150 yards of the car.
Wow.
Right on public. And he was pretty responsive. I'm not like a class A hooter, but let's just say I got him primed up for the morning.
I tell you what, Keith, I think you have some very nice hooters.
Yeah. They're I got a perky hooter. So.
I've seen them at work before, and
yeah. So
you do a good job.
Yeah. So we end up going to that spot first thing in the morning. We were going to go to this other spot that you actually myself and Tommy know very well, but kind of hard to not go after a bird that's gobbling on the limb 150 yards from the road. So we get up early because you guys know it gets a lot earlier up there, or light earlier up there.
Yeah, you're a lot further east than even where we're at.
Yeah. So we get to this like opening in the woods about, I don't know, maybe 85 yards in, and you guys know with the terrain up there, it's super how do I want to say, it's thick, nasty.
It's very thick.
It's just not open hardwoods. It's thick, nasty, like pine, just swamp garbage.
Yeah, you're not shooting far, and it is some of the thickest timber I've ever hunted in.
Yeah, so we find this opening. I'm like, this is perfect. He finally hammers, and it's pretty early still, but it was a lot later than we thought it would. So my buddy goes, "Hey, you're shooting. You did all the work. Blah blah blah." I'm like, "All right, well, I'm not gonna argue with you on that one."
Yeah.
Okay,
it's
fine.
an easy one to let. All right, I guess.
Yeah, I'm like, all right, yeah. So we're the way we're set up. We have like perfect cover. We're in this opening, got a decoy out, and he's just hammering. I mean, we're doing some soft calls. He's hammering. I'm like, I'm basically just filling the tag out already. Like it's a done deal. And so it's getting like really light, and we haven't been calling much. I don't like to call too much on the limb, just because they can hang off quite a bit and stay on the limb a lot longer. And finally, he just stops gobbling. I'm like, he must have flew down. And we get him to gobble again. He's in the limb. All of a sudden, we hear, from what I think I can hear him pitch down and it didn't sound like it was in the direction we were facing. So like 3 minutes go by, and he hammers, and it's not close. It's like another 150 yards the opposite direction. So he hammers again. He's even farther, and at that point, we have so much property to hit. I'm going, screw it, we're done. So we hop in the car, and we go to this one spot up the road, and there's a longbeard in the field, and he's crossing the road when we're like coming up to it. It was just we were like 5 minutes a little too late on that one. So we decided to go to this other farmer. He just spread a bunch of cow shit. So we're like, oh, let's go hit that spot. So we get back there. We've never been back here before. The only reason we know he's just spread because we were the night before we passed, and there was just like fresh, just liquid turd everywhere. You could smell it from a long distance, and that's like liquid gold up there. But we get to that spot, and it's a really narrow spot, but it was like close to 200 acres. So imagine a narrow 200 acres. It's a long freaking walk to get to the back. So we're going up and down these hills, and we get to this big opening, and the way the land up there is very rolly. It's not like steep, but there's a lot. If you have a huge field, there's a lot of spots birds can hide in, and that's what this longbeard did, because we thought we glassed the whole field, nothing, and we were just walking out, and there's a longbeard about 150 yards away, and he kind of saw my giant Polish head and kind of boogied out of there. So we decided to do a big loop on him because there's a huge field in the back, and we came up with this huge plan. You know, it's this beautiful big open hardwoods next to this huge green field up top with a couple windmills up top, and the wind was kind of kicking. These windmills are super freaking loud. So we kept going up this trail. There's like a snowmobile trail. Keep going up. We were calling. We start cutting a ton of tracks. Like there's just turkey tracks everywhere. I'm like, they gotta be in here. So we finally get to that top field. We looked on Onyx, and we actually couldn't hunt the field, but we could hunt the surrounding woods around it. So we get to the top of the field, and I just start cutting on my box call. Nothing. We get in like 20 yards in the woods, and two birds just light up maybe 100 yards away.
Ooh.
So the way the land was, I probably could have shot these birds, but it would have been trespassing. I'm not all about that.
Just a little bit.
So, maybe when I'm off the podcast, yeah. But
just kidding.
Yeah, me too. But so I'm set up so I can shoot this like huge trail going up to this field, and they're in between me, the field, and the trail. So I'm like trying to come up with this one, like a perfect tree to sit in. And my buddy starts calling, and they are just like coming in on a string, and and they're like triple gobbling, like it's crazy, like it was almost scary. And these birds, they kind of shut up, and I'm like, oh, where they're at, and I just see like this red head, like 35 yards coming up this knoll. They get into the field where I can't shoot, just about to go onto the trail. I could see them. Don't they just absolutely just boogie out of there? Like, I don't know what that happened. I don't know what they see. They couldn't see me or my friend. I don't know if they got spooky because they couldn't see like a hen or what, but two huge monster longbeards get in the field and just boogie. It was pretty disappointing. So that was that. And we got out of there and we went to this one spot. This farmer told us they saw a turkey the size of a baby cow. So
that's a monster.
Yeah, so we get up to the top of this other spot. We get to the top of this field, and there's a longbeard up top. And long story short, we do a big loop, call him into 35 yards, and just can't get a shot. He was out there for like an hour and a half. Just would not take the 4 steps we needed. So the first day we had 3 longbeards in range, just couldn't get a shot at. So we were super freaking pumped up. But we wanted to give these birds some time to rest. It was, it was Wednesday. We didn't have any basically competition. So we decided to give these birds a rest, and we decided to go to the spot that Tommy and I have some very good experience with, right, Tommy?
Absolutely.
Old Larry.
Good dude.
Yeah, great dude. So, Tommy, we found a new spot to park where we don't have to walk, from that top hill down to the bottom all the way back to the top. So
interesting.
Yeah, it was actually really nice. But we get to the same tree we set up last time, and you know how long of a walk it is.
Oh yeah.
And it was a super really thick dew that morning, and like to the point where like my freaking feet were so wet. It was terrible. But we're turkey hunting, so I don't care. So we get to that tree, and same thing that happened to you and I. The hens started, and then we had birds just going nuts behind us. And we never roosted here. We can't because the huge ravine. The water was just rushing so hard. You can't hear unless you walk up through the field. And I didn't really want to jeopardize trying to spook any birds because I didn't know. Because up there it wasn't really it wasn't a lot of green on the trees yet, so it's pretty open.
Right.
So we put the decoy literally in the same spot. Decoy's in the same spot, same uncomfortable tree. And these birds are hammering. And then we're listening. Two hens just randomly pop out of the field. And then a giant tom pops out. He never made a peep. He might have made like two gobblers. There's so much gobbling. We thought they were jakes. But this tom came out. And then like four other hens come out. So I'm like, great. How am I gonna compete with this? So we would call a little bit, he'd strut, and these hens just kind of like meandered off, and they kind of went south from where we were at, so like straight ahead. And the only thing I can think of is they wanted to get to the field with the sun was hitting first. That it might be a little drier, because the dew was so thick. Which that's where they went. There's that one field, I don't know, Tommy, if you remember, to the south of us, so it would be towards the other route, and it was a huge open field, and the sun was hitting that pretty early, so that's where they kind of went. And then a couple jakes came out, just like we had that last time, and then more jakes came out, We had 6 jakes. We had 5 jakes in our decoys within, I don't know, 5 minutes. And they're doing the whole, circling the decoys, pecking. It was a great show. The Tom's, he's gobbling here and there. He's probably like 300 yards off in that other field now with like all his other hens. And then I hear my buddy go, there's a bird coming to the left. I'm like, hell yeah, here we go. Guns up, ready to rock, safety's off. And I can see out of the corner of my eye, it's a strutting bird, and he's running. Well, he gets into gun range. I look, and he's got, a 3-inch chin hair. He was the dominant
Perfect.
Jake. So he comes in and just absolutely starts raping my decoy, just on top of its back. I think I posted the video on Instagram today.
Yeah, I did see that.
Yeah,
he was putting
so
the work
on
in.
the decoy. I'm like, great. There's $90 for my Avian X. I'm like, I'm gonna shoot this damn thing just for pissing me off or fucking popping my decoy. And then he is just like, at a porn store with a blow up doll. He's just going nuts. And he is. I thought I was gonna have to clean this thing off, if you know what I mean, because he was so happy.
I didn't realize that was a decoy because you didn't put any caption. You just put a video up there of a turkey going to town out in the field.
Yeah, he had her pinned down. Let's just say that. But anyway, so I can hear him scratching on the decoy pretty hard, and it's the blow up Avian X and what have you. And I ended up we started looking around, and that Tom's long gone. So we end up scaring those jakes away just because I wanted to educate them a little bit because there's other hunters coming in the weekend after. And
that is a pro move right there, Keith.
Yeah, and we had so much land to hit. I didn't want to sit there and get any other birds on top of that decoy, and so they kind of spooked off. I let him check the decoy. He actually didn't pop it, so just little advice for you guys, if they do go on your decoy, they're pretty durable.
Yeah, I got a handful of those Avian X decoys, and they're pretty heavy duty. Like I'd be shocked if they popped one.
So, I had to clean the decoy off a little bit. It wasn't due. And so, Tom, you remember when we went up where you killed your bird up top there? We had to go through that hardwoods.
Yeah.
All the way to the top. So same thing. We ended up calling a hen in the hardwoods. she just was caught in hard. It was cool. We heard all sorts of vocalizations. And we kind of, she kind of went off, no other birds were with her. Let me step back a little bit. There was a bird gobbling up top there. He gobbled only twice. So, when they're on the limb. So we're being real careful. Finally get up to that field, and I was reminiscing about our hunt. I actually found the area where we were at and everything, and I was telling my buddy all about it. And we get to that corner where the field kind of goes downhill, like you're going to go towards that road.
Yep.
Remember that picture I took of you walking away down? That's right there. So we get to that field, and the field goes straight down, but there's like a bench in the middle of the field, and then you can't really see the bottom. So I'm looking down at my Onyx to make sure we're on the actual property, just to make sure. And we get to that bench, and you can see the bottom. There's a turkey down there, and it's pretty big. So I get the binocs up, and I'm like, dude, that's a longbeard. So
Hey, you've heard that before, huh,
I
Tom?
have heard that.
Yeah.
yeah, I was waiting for that.
Same spot.
So we rush in the hedgerow, and it was kind of windy, and like I was saying, the windmills are a little loud there. So my buddy and I both grab our box calls, and I'm like, dude, let's just cut really hard, really loud. As soon as we did that, he starts strutting and he gobbles. I'm like, hell yeah. So he's like maybe 250 yards. So he's not close. So down at the bottom, there was a freshly plowed field. And I'm like, I don't know if he's going to break from that field, because he was heading down that way, and he's kind of strutting back and forth. He's interested, but he's not like super interested. And I'm like, well, let's just sit in the hedgerow, see what he does. So my buddy was nice enough to kind of stand up in the back hedgerow and watch him with the binocs, and I stayed with my gun. So we're calling, blah, blah, blah. He's gobbling here and there. He's strutting at the bottom. He's closing some distance, but not much. I didn't put the Avian X decoy out, but my buddy had this old foam decoy from like 1993, and it looks like Caitlyn Jenner. It was just ugly as hell. It was just nasty. And is it Caitlyn Jenner? Yeah. So that's kind of behind me, and he's just kind of strutting back and forth, won't really move. So my buddy goes, well, I'm going to try a gobble on my mouth call. I'm like, hey, whatever. Hey, it can't hurt. As soon as he gobbles, the bird closes, I don't know, 100 yards in and starts strutting back, and he's coming in now. That guy, I can't do a gobble with my mouth call, but I'm gonna definitely learn it, because I definitely learned something that day. It was pretty impressive. So this bird gets to like 60 yards, and I can't see over that bench like I was talking about. And finally I see like a tail fan just go up and down. So he gets to the bench, and he sees Caitlyn Jenner, and he kind of gets a little uneasy. And did you guys ever hear that song by Charlie Daniels? It's Uneasy Rider.
Oh, yeah. That's a good one.
Yeah, they go to the bar, and there's fellers dancing and fellers kissing. That song. Well, that it kind of reminded me of that song, because he sees this decoy, and he's like a little unsure, like, I don't know what that thing is.
Yeah, he was all excited for a second, and then saw what he was dealing with, and was like, I don't know about this.
It's like 2 a.m. stuff.
Yeah.
He's at that bench, and he's like, I can see his head, and we're kind of unsure if he's going to come in. So he starts strutting again. I'm like, oh, hell yeah. And all of a sudden he goes out of strut, and he starts periscoping pretty hard. The head's way up in the air, and he can tell that something's up. And I go to my buddy. I go, how far is he goes 70. And I'm like, dude, I don't think that's 70. I think he's like 45, 50. He goes, no. And I'm looking, I'm like, definitely 50. So he goes, well, shoot him and try him. And to step back, I got a new turkey gun, and I started shooting this TSS stuff, this Apex Turkey Ninja, 8.5, 3.5 inch shell. So I'm like, well, he thinks it's 70, I think it's 50, to cut that at 60. I'm like, oh, well, I'll try it out. So I cut really hard. He just picks his head up, and I put that. I got a new red dot. I put that reticle right on his bottom or base of his neck. I pull that trigger, and that thing hit the ground and didn't move. I was
Nice.
so impressed with that TSS.
So
Tom and I've been telling you for years to
Yeah.
switch over to tungsten super shots.
Oh, unreal! I've just been so dang cheap. I'll
I
never
told
go
you, once
back,
you shoot
but-
them once, you'll never go back. And you're going to be wondering why it took you so long.
So it ended up being 52 yards. I mean, I dusted him, and his foot moved like once, and that was it. And I've killed birds at 50 yards before. Let's just say you're running.
yeah,
with
gotta have a
with
little extra
regular-
work involved.
Yeah. So I run up to him, and I'm like, we're freaking, just ecstatic. And I go, hey, put a range on that. We did, and it was like, I think it was 50 or 52 yards. I can't remember. But yeah, that was that. And we think it was a different Tom, because that other Tom had like just a handful of freaking hens with it. And this was at like 8:45. I'm like, all those hens didn't break off, or he didn't break off from all those hens. So we were thinking maybe, that other Tom we actually called in before might have been the dominant bird in the area. And then this one was like a subordinate bird. And that's what kind of made him uneasy about that decoy. So we're just, thinking back and forth. But he's dead, so it doesn't matter. But we ended up calling another longbeard in that day at another spot, and he got real spooky. Couldn't get a shot at that too, and that was kind of the gist of the trip. Just a lot of spooky longbeards, man. Called in a couple other jakes. We called in the one day we drove around. We saw 26 jakes.
That's beautiful.
Yeah,
Oh yeah,
good
so
crop
I'm
of birds
super
for
pumped
next year. Good thing you're educating them all.
for next year. Yeah. So, but yeah, it was a great trip. It was a great hunt. I finally connected on that property. That's the third year I've been hunting there, and we've had so many close calls. Tommy got his bird there. Tommy, we were joking. I go, I gotta send this to Tommy. I go, I bet this is that Jake that I was gonna shoot with, double up with you last year.
Very well could have same field.
It was, yeah. So I'm like, yeah. So it's just funny how it works, but yeah, it's a good year up there where I was at, and super pumped for it, and super pumped for next year too with all the jakes I'm seeing. I mean, we did see quite a few jakes last year, so obviously they're a little bit bigger this year, but yeah, I'm super pumped to hunt that next year. So
Yeah, it sounds like there's going to be plenty of longbeards next year.
Yeah, and hopefully the cabin we stayed in smells just the same as it was this year and last year.
That's
too.
really what makes the trip.
Mm-hmm. Sounds like that's the good luck smell, because you got a bird last year. Keith got one, so that's what does it.
Yeah,
I wouldn't mind going back up to that area again. It was it was different just because of how thick it is, but we had a lot of fun up there.
Mm-hmm.
There's just so
Yeah.
much. There's so much property. Like there's no like there's just no birds around here. Like if you want to find birds, there's enough property you can find birds,
Mm-hmm.
which is what I like.
yeah. It is weird because it's a lot of ag up there, and a lot of the birds we were seeing were in the ag, but then towards the end of the trip, they were all hanging out in the swamps, which I don't really know. Maybe a bug was hatching, or maybe there was a certain something blooming. I don't know, but one of the other guys had a bird pretty much on the edge of a swamp, and he called it in, and there's a cemetery right near him. He couldn't shoot it because it's in a cemetery. But we ended up passing this bird on the road, and that's where we found it, and it flew up to roost. And I tell you what, this thing, I mean, I nicknamed it Sherwin-Williams because a freaking paintbrush for a beard. Holy shit. And we've seen some really, really big toms, but
Nice.
they're big for a reason, man. So
Yeah, they don't get that big being dumb.
No, and I wish I had more time to hunt up there, but life, responsibilities kick in, and it was the longest I've been away from my son too, and that I definitely missed him, and my wife too. But it was bittersweet. I loved killing the turkey, but I really wanted to show him, a dead turkey. So hopefully in the next few weeks I can fill this other tag and show him beautiful turkey and get some photos.
Absolutely. I look forward to seeing pictures of Henry with a big old Tom.
Yeah. So yeah, and this is a year.
Not the kind with a mustache though. Different Tom.
Yeah, I probably will hunt. Probably less. I mean, I don't even know how much I'll hunt this year. Probably not much around here, just because the bird population. But we are going. We're doing a family trip in 2 weeks. Up to the Adirondacks, and it just happens to be turkey season, so I'm gonna bring my stuff.
Just in case,
Just in case, But,
maybe Henry's taking a nap. You can sneak out.
Yeah, I was gonna say the wife and kid will be sleeping till 9 o'clock, so you can go out and get a good hunt in the morning.
Yeah, and we've been having all of our luck after 8:30 this year. Just where we were, we passed fields like I was saying earlier. There was Tom with 7 hens. Like, there's no way I can compete with that. I mean,
it's tough to compete with one hen.
With a call, nothing compares to 7 hens. So, you just got to find those lonely, ugly longbeards, I guess. So,
nice. Well, congratulations, Keith. You're pretty consistent with birds.
Up there in a few weeks and have some more success.
Absolutely.
Yeah. Are you guys doing anything this weekend or?
We'll be doing some turkey hunting for sure. With Mother's Day, it kind of cuts our turkey hunting in half, but we'll make do. Hopefully, I only need Saturday.
Yeah. I'm not going to hunt this weekend. With Kate having our first Mother's Day, I don't really want to mess this one up. So
yeah. Absolutely. Well, you got the monkey off your shoulder. Got that first one done. So it's all fun from here.
Yeah. If I don't get another one, that's no big deal. If I just want to hunt. I'd rather get people, birds rather than myself, just because I don't really hunt. I mostly hunt by myself. So when you hunt with other people, man, you get to share that. It's definitely fun.
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah. So. But yeah, well, I hope you guys get into them this weekend.
Yeah,
I hope so
Thank
too.
You just got to remember, just put your Caitlyn Jenner decoy out. It works.
Works like a charm every time.
Spend all that money on AV&X just to revert back to the old phone.
Sing that Charlie Daniels song. You'll think of me.
All right. Well, thank you, Keith. We appreciate you coming on. And
downstairs, I got to get going. But yeah, guys, good luck this season. And thanks for letting me share.
Absolutely, Keith. Thank you again.
Hey,
Toodaloo, brother.
Toodaloo.
Well, there you have it. That is the one and only Keith Sharp.
Mm-hmm. He always gets the job done. Deer, turkeys, no matter what it is. He's a hell of a hunter.
I'll be honest. I don't think I know a more consistent killer of quality animals.
Yeah.
He will kill almost every single year 2 longbeards and 2 bucks.
Mm-hmm.
Almost every single year. It's insane.
Yeah.
But it is completely by he puts in the work.
Oh, hell yeah. He's in the woods all the time.
Yeah, and it's one of those things where you can get lucky once in a while, but when you string the seasons together like Keith has, luck is not really playing into it as much anymore.
Mm-hmm.
The guy puts his time in, and it shows.
Yeah, for sure.
Tom, you already got your headphones off, but do you have anything else to interrupt with before we close her out here?
No, that should about do it. Thanks, though.
All right. Well, you heard it here first from Tom. That's it. So good luck in the turkey woods. And if you're going to have good luck, you guys know what you got to do. Get outside.